What's up guys, welcome back to yet another Tarkov video. We're continuing the PvE series and this is episode 3. This episode we're looking at completing a few easy goals, mainly to get rid of some of the early quests, but also we have a need of getting 1.1 million rubles so that we can get a scav junk box. Our stash with the starter account is pretty limiting, and I did not really expect that to be my main issue with this playthrough. So on ground zero we're gonna pick up as many items that we can for questing, for hideout and for money, and hopefully by the end of this video we will have our junk box. We do some looting, we get toilet paper, and that is also pretty important to get for the laboratory. They have made this game really difficult early game, with the hideout items being found in raid only. You can't really just power to level 15 anymore and just get everything that you need and complete the hideout as fast as possible. Which is limiting to players like me, players that like to play the game a bit slower, but doesn't really affect the, I would say the main streamers or the guys that just like to push Tarkov 24/7 and goes from level 1 to 20 within the first day of a wipe. So for us, it's all about finding those items and holding on for dear life throughout the raid. We don't need to die, we don't want to die, but we also don't want to shy away from any action. So on ground zero now we're going through the tunnel, I guess you would call it. We find salt, which is also a good item to have for the med station, not the med station, what is it called? It slips my mind, the food station, whatever you want to call it. Ground Zero is actually one of the better early game maps because it has a lot of hideout items sprinkled through, and despite it being such a small map, the amount of loot per squadron, I guess, is actually pretty high. I don't think below level 20 on this map that you're ever going to find LED access or graphics cards or really expensive items, but the industrial loot that you will use, you will pretty much find on this map. This map, woods and interchange are probably my favorite maps to play in the early game, just because you get a lot. Like right now I picked up thermite, I picked up the propane gas and a couple of other items. Even though I don't intend to keep all of them, selling them to therapists for 20-30k a slot is really important for me at this stage of the game. And also, while this is playing on screen, I've had this issue pretty much the entire wipe, and I haven't really played in the last 2-3 wipes. You open a container and you sort of move your character and the container just doesn't open for some reason, and you have to wait, and there it happened again. For me this is an issue because I'm always used to moving my character towards where an enemy could be as I'm looting. So if an enemy is in front of me right now, I just have to click escape and I can pretty much pre-fire at the enemy. But right now, with the need of pretty much looking at the container I'm looting most of the time, it's pretty annoying. We find a car battery here, which puts me in a difficult spot. I know that for the vents, eventually I think I will need to have a car battery, and there's also a quest later down the line which I think it's car repair, which needs me to bring in 4 batteries. A military tank battery can now generate 5 batteries found in raid, but that's almost going to run me 1,000,000 rubles. So I decided to bite the bullet here and take the car battery. We will find plenty of propane gas tanks, or I guess. We hear a scav here, so it's time to begin the first action of this raid. That's 2 scavs down. Looking back at this, I remember looking for that third Stanag mag that I accidentally dropped. I didn't know that my rig was full, and I briefly looked for it on the way out later down in this raid, but I just couldn't find it. So I didn't remember my exact path. Game while looting for scavs, some important items I like to pick up are obviously the shotguns that you need for Jaeger, the armor that you need for skier, and sometimes scavs can have wallets on them, and while they are pretty useless later down in the playthrough, in the early game they actually provide a lot of storage. A third scav has been hit, sir. We'll grab the rig. That gives us 10 slots for 9. We gained an extra slot by taking that rig. The weight doesn't really matter right now. We're gonna head over and loot this first scav. You can see me checking for the mag here on the ground, but I didn't really find it. Squash is also a pretty important item in the early game, because I believe if they haven't changed anything, I will be able to trade a squash for the director's key for customs, which will be important later on. And that's basically going to be it for raid number 1. We get the container bug again, or feature, whatever BSG you want to call it. And we're gonna grab the green flare here, and we're gonna extract from ground 0. A pretty good raid overall. Nothing special, no PMC action, just a couple of scavs and a few good pieces of loot. Let's quickly dump off all these items and head into raid number 2. So here we go, raid number 2 of this episode, and we are back into ground 0. We pretty much get the same spawn again at Emercom, and we are going to run straight back towards the tents and see if we can find any good loot. We still haven't had a CMS kit, which is limiting our gameplay at the current moment. Tango down. We get the vitamins, which is 15k per slot, so it's a really good item to grab. You do need a lot of them later, but it's such a common item to find as you play through the game, so selling it right now would be our best bet for an early scav box. A little bit of insurance fraud there on the headset. Looting through the scav, we find nothing of value, but we're gonna grab the backpack, because backpacks in early game is quite rare, especially the bigger ones. You can always get a sling, you could always try to trade for the, not the bear kit, the MBSS from Peacekeeper, but having as many backpacks as possible and storing them within each other is always pretty good for early game Tarkov. This time we're not going to go through the tunnel, we are going to get to the other side of the map, because we want to try and extract through the car for the skier task. But first we go through this building and we can see if we can find any action. We get the first guy and we're trying to have a look around and see if there is somebody hiding. I feel like most of the AI in this game travel in packs, and they are pretty good at just like hiding behind a bench, a wall, and catching you by surprise. Especially if they don't make any noise or step around, they can be quite deadly. And as usual with Tarkov, regardless of the wipe, the version, or anything really, audio is pretty bad, and you have a sense of direction, but you don't have a sense of plane. I would say you don't know if it's above you, below you, in front of you, behind you. So it's pretty hard to determine exactly where the sound is coming from. So it's best to play it safe and really cover all your corners. At the time, I didn't really know that this was a PMC. I thought I killed a scav. So getting some upgraded gear was a pretty welcome surprise. I thought that this helmet was going to be worth it. I had no idea that it wasn't really that good of a helmet. So I dropped my headset and I dropped the helmet that I had. And we're basically going to look for either the other PMCs that I'm hearing or the pack of scavs. We have a dead scav here, so we can pretty much assume that the pack that we're hearing are not a bunch of scavs, but rather PMCs. Find two PMCs literally in front of us, and we spray for a bit, but 9mm isn't always going to cut through the level 4 armor that the PMCs usually have. We're gonna quickly heal up, pop some painkillers, and head back into the fight. To get the first guy, but arm stamina is running low, so we're gonna quickly take a break, and once we have enough stamina we will get back after the other guy. The headshot for good measure. I didn't actually know that I had already killed the guy, so I was being a bit overcautious. But in the end, it's 2 PMC kills to our total score. One thing that I really dislike with the PMCs in PvE is the fact that they sort of forget that you exist. If you engage them and you manage to survive the first interaction and you hide behind a wall, given enough time, they will sort of reset themselves and basically allow you to get another chance, while in PvP the player doesn't really forget that you were there, and they keep aiming towards you, they keep you in their mind, and you can't really play around them forgetting you. You can't really sneak up on a PvP player that you just had a battle with, unless the PvP player is just a complete newbie. So I guess that's one thing to improve with PvE. The fact that the PMCs don't really forget you, and the scavs for that matter. We managed to grab a piece of loot here from the PMCs that we killed, and the goal for this raid was to try and extract with the car. So we are going to try and look at doing that, having a final look here on the loot that I can grab. And now that we're done, it is off to the car we go. And here we are. I didn't really know the spawn rate of the car. I was kind of hoping that it was 100% pre-level 20 because of the quest. So we're gonna wait here for 1 minute. Nobody's really going to approach us, and that is us surviving raid number 2. We're gonna quickly dump all our gear again, and we're gonna upgrade the hideout, go through some quests, and basically sell whatever it is that we can sell. Now that we have some items, now that we have some gear that we can sell to Therapist and Ragman and Skier, we should technically have enough to basically bankrupt ourselves for the chance of getting the junk box. And we hit the 1.1 million ruble mark, and there we go. A completely empty junk box for us to store all of our trash in that we need for hideout, for quest, and basically give ourselves some breathing room with this standard account stash, which is proving to be quite the challenge. After that, we're gonna head into customs, because that raid is next on the agenda. And if I forgot to mention, throughout these 2 raids that we've done, and the next raid here in customs, we are trying to complete part of the story. We need Skier to show us mechanic, and for that we needed to go to customs and do something which I completely forget about now, but that's the reason we are at customs. Here I wasn't sure about the AI that I was watching. Was it really scavs or was it PMCs? So I didn't really want to take the shot. It's an old Counter-Strike tactic. You let the player go in, and then you sort of flank them and see if you can surprise them. We managed to get the guy on top of the roof because he was taking some shots at us, and now we're heading for the other pack. Wasn't really expecting that many scavs this early into the raid, but having been starved from action so far into the series, it is a pleasant surprise. We do gotta be careful though, we don't have an endless amount of M855 and we haven't really brought any spare ammo with us. I was surprised that you can't really store ammo in the secure container anymore. I don't know the reason for that change, but for me it is going to make me shift my playstyle a bit going forward. We find this AK with a lot of PS ammo, which is going to be good for us later on. We get another scav rushing towards us. And we managed to take him down as well. And now come the long process of emptying out all these magazines and getting the ammo for ourselves. And just like that, our survival streak ends. I wasn't really expecting one of Rashala's guards to be at the new gas station, but they must have heard the action and gotten closer. I didn't really get a chance to see where this guy was, and he just kind of gets me headshot with PP ammo. So that was all she wrote for that raid. Gonna head back into customs though. We're gonna grab the MPX that we had and a pack and some useless gear, and we're gonna see if we can correct that mistake. This time we are spawning over at the big red side, and usually there isn't that much action on this side. There is a pack of PMCs that can spawn towards the container side, sort of in between Big Red and the container lot at the back. But other than that, very rarely do I run into PMCs here. Tape is a good item to get early game, especially if you're looking at completing the hideout early. It is an item that has held me back in the past on previous playthroughs. So always really glad at finding the heating matches, the measuring tape, the spark plugs, and the toilet paper and toothpaste. Those usually sort of hold me back in the playthroughs that I've done. But now we're pretty much done at the Big Red side. We're gonna slowly make our way over towards the extracts, and we hear some action over the wall. We are going to try and grab this unknown key for a later quest, and having this key is going to make it easier for us to play through customs the next time we try and make or complete the extortionist quest. Guy down, but more to come. Unfortunately, that was all she wrote for that second customs raid. I didn't really expect to run into a pack of PMCs there, and the 9mm ammo from the MPX somewhat limited me, but that was also an extremely poor display of aiming. That I don't want to make excuses. I should have played better there. But in the next episode, we will look to correct those mistakes, and we will head back into customs and try to complete some tasks. But that's going to be it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know where I can improve it. I am looking at improving pacing and whatnot, and sort of making this entire video a bit more watchable. So let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.